Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Tuesday the 1st of November. Starting with the SPY here. It's interesting really because the SPY has made a new high above this previous top here where the futures market hasn't. So we're looking for a top. I can't confirm a top is in, but with the SPY here, an A wave, a B wave, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we can squeeze 5 waves out of this this move here to have a top in play. We can get a bit of a 5-wave structure down here also on this market, so that means that we could at least get an ABC back here. So we could sort of look at this. I'm not going to take that spike there because I think that's just part of the platform. I didn't see it on the other market. So we could say to ourselves, you know, because in one way we need a few ways to confirm a top, and a nice impulse wave is always good to the downside, but one of them at this degree is not really enough. So we could actually just get an A wave, some sort of B wave and a C wave. So down at the 61.8% at that point, if this became the resistance here, the retested resistance, so if it dropped through here, for example, and retested it and then failed, then we know that we're on our way at that point. Because, you know, as I just mentioned, the S&P here, I can count as 1 and 2, and I can count 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here for the third, the fourth, and up for the fifth for the third. So I could squeeze 5 waves out of it, but I would have to sort of squeeze it in there, and kind of reluctant to do that a little bit. And, you know, looking at this as 1 and 2 here, you know, that could also be a mistake. In some markets this is down a bit lower here. But anyway, the 38.2% retracement level is here. And you could count 5 waves on this here as well, but there is overlapping wave structures within that 5-wave structure as well, and you'd have to include the top here, sort of go into the guessing game a little bit and consider all of this wave 1 here, but you can't see in here for that, you know. So that makes it a bit of a guessing game in here, but even if you look at that as 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 here, wave 4 overlaps this one, and then you can get the rest of them in here. So well, there's 5 in that leg there and 5 in that leg there if you want to pull that apart. So I'm not convinced to go to call a top in as yet, but as always we need to be a little mindful about things. So yeah, well, the 38.2% retracement level is here. If we see the market, you know, down here, obviously, then, you know, there's a good chance of that being in place at that point. But we'll talk more about that a bit later. Just it's just possible that that the SPY has got, you know, the A, the B, and the 1, and the 2, and the 3, and the 4, and the 5. So it is what it is, I guess, but I don't have enough evidence to bring this down. So look, you know, like I mentioned before, don't feel like you're missing anything either, that you're going to miss anything, because what we'd want to see really is this here as 1 and 2 here, or 1 and 2 here. So we'd want to see 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5, something a little bit decent, and then there would be an ABC back after that as well, you know. And then if we can count the 5 waves down, well, then we can short it, you know, right back at the 61.8% again, and then build in over this side. Easier said than done, of course, but yeah, I mean, as I said before, picking tops and bottoms is a bit of a mug's game, and we need to be a little bit patient. But, you know, you've got to keep working them, and you know, one day lucky we may get one, you know. But yeah, there's no real solid evidence except of a move down so far, except that we've got this as an A and a B, and then 1 and 2, and I've never liked that as 1 and 2, by the way. So not a strong case, you know. So yeah, yeah, but anyway, you know, 5 waves up, and we've got a little impulse wave down here, so it's possible. So we're going to, you know, just mention it and keep an eye on it, and so on. Now we need to also take this through to the stock market as well. Now, some of the stocks like Apple have been quite volatile and left a lot of spikes in the market. There's Meta platforms, there's Microsoft, there's Amazon, there's Google, and some of these spikes are a little bit tricky to label. So you can get into the guessing game and get the highest sort of the highest probability, but as I mentioned the other day or yesterday or whatever, is to really just let the dust settle, and then we'll see see the phoenix come out of that dust, and we'll be able to pick up and read that new pattern from that particular point. Now with Apple here, it's the thing here, I reckon, is that this move that's gone up here for the A wave, that's quite difficult to count as 5 waves. So it does count quite nicely as a corrective wave, so that would make all of this corrective. So I don't think we've got a bullish case on our hands. It's had its earnings and its spike and all the rest of it, and so we're just sort of letting it settle. Look, there could be if the SPY's got a top in it, well then it's probably got a top in here as well. But I think the top is still a little bit further to come. But once again, I think the top needs to come over here. But once again, the beauty of this little area here is that we don't really need to do anything until we've got enough evidence. And one of the things that we could look at is using this number here as the resistance. Just waiting for that. And so anyway, let's just cruise in on this. So we normally go into 50k, then we'll go to the 50, 10, 5 and 1. We spend a little bit of time on Apple because it's quite a centerpiece in the markets. So this is just a bit more of a bullish count here that we looked at yesterday. We don't really need to worry about this particular count just yet. It's just my sort of bullish count in a couple of different ways, but let's just continue on with our bearish count here and focus on this particular thing here. So there's a couple of ways I could look at this here in terms of, see, this, as I've mentioned here, this doesn't really count nicely as a 5-wave structure. You could go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 across here and then up for 5. That would be about the only way to do it, but obviously it doesn't count very well. It doesn't have the right look and feel about it. But but it's still, as an A and a B and a C wave, it's all looking pretty good. And I think there's a little bit of a move to come through here, but we don't really have to do anything. I mean, if this market comes down through here, there will be a bounce off here, of course, and then there will also be a move through here, and then it'll come back and test it, a bit like these over here. So you've got to be a little bit tricky. You have to wait for that first low to come in and just patiently wait for that, and then go short under that. And there's another one over here, so you wait for that, and then you get this. Then we had this sharp one through here, and you think you're going to miss something, and so you can come to here, and then you can move back up because this is under the second next low here, and then under this low here, the same as you could do under these ones here. And so, if you get clicked in, that's good, everything's perfect. But if you don't get clicked in, you saved your ass. So that's the way that would sort of play it over here if that was the case. In the meantime, we want to confirm that there is a move down. And we need to confirm that the move is coming down, but we also need to see that it's possible to to move to the upside there. So let's have a closer look at that in terms of the 5k tick here. So in a bit of a nutshell, we could look at the move up here from wave B to wave C here. I mean, it counts quite nicely straight up here, and we could put wave C on here for this. But like I said, with the SP500, that could move up a little bit higher, if it's in that wave 4 thing here. So like this wave 4 here we've got. So we could get wave 5 to come up here, and finish off like that. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm kind of thinking about the markets. Some of them are okay to read, and some of them are a little bit tricky. But so I was thinking that, look, anything could actually occur here, but I'm thinking something like this and looking at it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So yeah, anyway, we'll still drill in here. So I've got it counted a little bit differently as we go in. This one here is still the same, I think, as just that. Looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 here. Now I can have, there is a case for, no, I think I counted that as an ABC, yeah, so that can be wave 4 here. But I wouldn't panic. If it drops down here, don't panic, because there'll be a bounce off here, and you know, let's just say that this dropped here for whatever reasons. Don't do anything until you get this situation here, right? Just that's what we're looking for. It's either that, or we'll look for something further up here. I mean, the question is should you go long at this point? Is this wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Can we go long here? Well, yeah, of course you can. So, but looking at this here, so when I go to the next intraday chart, I've got it counted a little bit differently, with wave 1 up here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. Not that it's a big deal at this point. Like I say, some of these are a bit hard to get into just on the 100 ticks here. So I've got a few things going on here. So first of all, I have this wave 1 up here rather than down here. So I'm just sort of mulling things over a little bit, but anyway, that's how I've counted it. So right, so coming down from the top here, I've got it as an A or 1, so I'm just keeping an eye on it, you know, but we've got that first impulse wave, then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I could look at it as wave, oh sorry, I've counted them differently over here, haven't I? So, so I'll just copy this over here and put this over here and this over here. So I'm just looking at it in 2 ways, that's all. And we can just copy this here just to make things a bit more complicated. So if I move this wave 3 here and put that here, because I could look at this as 1 and 2, a nice third wave down, and we could put that 4th wave over here now, because we've got an impulse wave here. Yeah, none of that really matters. It's probably just above the 38.2% retracement level there. Not that it's a big deal, I don't think. Let me just check on that. So we can take that from wave 2 to wave 3 there. Yeah, we're sort of, we're more at the 50%. So 50% is okay for a wave 4, especially when you've had a big jump like this. Strong move down, they can sort of come back a bit. So we could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here for this. That's possible with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. Now that becomes interesting at that point, doesn't it? Because then we would have 5 waves down. But we have to also be a bit careful that because that pulled up to 50% and not 40%, we could look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and have the wave 4 over here. This is you know, it's another thing. But at the same time, if it is 5 waves, let's just assume that it is for a moment, well then we would have a counter trend in 3 waves, wouldn't we? And then we would come down and then we could look at this as, you know, just shooting the breeze here as wave 2 here, and that means that we could look to short the low of wave B here at that point, and then under here as well. So we'll get there, we just, you know, just looking at put everything on the table and then eliminate the one by one, you know. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing now is what we really need to do to all the stocks, because I mean, there's a case for, you know, this just moving, you know, up here further for this. So if you wanted to go long at this point, well then you'd go long above here for that, and then also look to add on top of the 55 here, getting a little classic trading levels pattern on the long side there, a bit like this here. So you've got the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the correction, and then you can go long above the first high on that leg there, you know. So something like that over there, and that would take you up probably to, my target area is 160 to 162 for all of this. So yeah, anyway, I think it's healthy to talk about both sides and just tactics and those sorts of things. So I mean, while the market's above the closest largest number, that's really needs to be respected, because it took a lot to get above that, you know. And of course, once it gets above, it runs out of steam and has a rest and comes back and tests, you know, and then the value buyers come in and they do their bit and so on. So yeah, that's where we are. A bit complicated, I know, but yeah, just a few ideas. So Nvidia here, just on the 1000 tick chart. Once again, I don't like all of this down here. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me at this point. I mean, this is a nice wave 3 at this point. I like that, you know. I mean, I'd just be as happy putting the A wave here and the B wave over here, actually. That would make a little bit more sense to me. Then I could put this as a bit more of a corrective pattern in here. So we can turn bearish once the 130 becomes the retested resistance. That's the bottom line here. Otherwise, because normally once you get support on top of 30, and to talk about the trading levels now within group 1, well then that normally sets the target to the next number, the number 5 up here. So from 3 Fibonacci numbers 1, 2, 3, 5. So yeah, so that's got to be respected. But at the same time, I know that there can be a top in play here because we counted up here as 3, and then we could look at that as 4 and that as 5 here, and we've got wave 1 down here and 2 and 3 and keep building down. So that's possible. But I wouldn't even think of going short unless you had this number as the resistance with the little classic trading levels pattern. It's also possible to put wave 4 over here as well. We're going to go in and have a quick look at that on the next chart. So yeah, the takeaway on this chart is that a top can be in place, but we wouldn't be going short unless we had enough evidence. If we had a nice, well, even having 5 waves down here actually is just not quite enough as well at this point. So going into the 100 ticks here for a moment, and not sure how much we need, overkill, but that's alrighty. So coming back into this space here, see, I've got just from a wave 3 over here with an A wave here, a B wave up here, and well, I've got a C wave here at the 61.8%, but I could also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here for this. But I think that would take too much out of the S&P at that time, at that stage. We need the S&P to move up. So, I mean, it could spike down or do something, but yeah, they're all about that 130 there. We do have 5 waves down. I can also count, so I could put wave 4 over here. And we could look at this here as wave 3, wave 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just making a new high above this one. That's what it does. So we could put the wave 5 there, and then we've got an impulse wave down here. We've got 5 waves here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So having those 5 waves here would tell me that we should really get another move over here for that, you know. But those 5 waves there as well, I mean, that could be wave 1 to the upside, and then an A and a B and a C here for wave 2 at that point. You know, up for 1, A, B, C for 2, probably be a little bit big at that point. But anyway, look, I think the main point here is that I just want to, I can see both sides of the market, and there's a case for both of them. And I also know things, you know, markets don't top the way that you expect them. But, you know, the main thing here, we're in an uptrend, aren't we? We're above that trend line. You know, we're in an uptrend, and we can see that the market is creeping. So we can kind of see that it's getting a bit toppy. So we can look for short trades and things. But trading against the trend is, you know, a mug's game, and pick and tops is a mug's game. So it's okay to be a mug and, you know, and look at this like I am, and looking at it and think, well, can it be, you know, can we have a top in? Well, yeah, we can. We can have wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and wave 5 here. It's only a small high, but we do have 5 waves down here. You know, what's happening with this? You know, this box that I've got here, if the market moves above that box, then it's likely that we're going to continue going at that point, these boxes here, you know. So yeah, we just need extra, you know, that layer of security really, just to be a bit careful. Amazon, so it's also got you know, the spike there as well. So yesterday we were talking about looking at this as an A and a B and a C wave back up here. If the S&P is going to push up, well then this could push up as well here. And there's a bit of a case for 5 waves here. We could go an A and a B and a C here, and and then still come down here for the C wave of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this, hit on the 100. The 61.8% is down lower, of course, but that 100 would be a nice support area here, as sort of established over here for that. So we could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the same thing here applies really. We would want to see, would want to see this number here as the resistance here. That's what we need to see. Because of this spike here, it's possible to put wave 2 here, but I do think there is 5 waves up here. It's a little bit hard to see. I did notice on a bit easier to read on 5-minute chart in this case, because it's got a bit of, it's very hard to read all of this, of course, but when you look at it like this with a bit of spacing, you can kind of see we've got wave 1 here with an ABC for 2 here. So I'm thinking there was 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave here, the 4th wave, and then moving up to the 5th wave. So I think there is 5 waves here, but it's, it doesn't count very well at all, so we need to be a little bit careful about this. It's just hard to see inside all of this a lot, that's one of the main problems with this. So we've just got to let the dust settle. We'll slowly pick it up. It does look a bit impulsive down here, so it's possible to have this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and too many objects on the chart. So I'll just get rid of some of these. I'll keep those. What else can I clear up in the background over here? So I'll just do that while I'm just yakking. So yeah, but anyway, it's possible to have tops in, and we can put this wave 2 here, but just need a bit more evidence first with these guys. That's what I reckon. Meta platforms. So yeah, we're over here yesterday, and we were looking for, well, I had 3, 4, 5 here as 3rd. I said this could be a bottom here, but we're still looking for 4 and 5. So we've got that 5th wave here. So in one way or another, if the S&P pushes up, which I think it should, then we should have some sort of ABC pattern here. We'll just I don't know how far it can actually go away from this number here, but we'll look for some sort of corrective pattern, and then we'll look for we'll look for weakness and look for the short trade over here. This will be coming down further at this point. So sorry, this is Meta platforms in here. Should be putting that there somewhere so we can see it. So basically this move from the top down here, we can look at it as a low in place, but we're really looking at it as looking for a corrective wave and another move down. So we'll just after this big move down, we're just waiting for it to land, and starting to show a bit of pattern here, and we kind of got it right to a point, and yeah, we'll just watch that come there. So there's nothing to do here for that just yet. Netflix is another one that we're looking at as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the 5th of the 3rd wave. So we're looking for this as a 4th wave here. I haven't really given it much attention. The 38.2% will be down here somewhere for this, so it can come down lower here for this. I don't think it's trading wave 4 up to wave 5 here, which won't, because the extensions in wave 3 here, wave 1 here and wave 5 will be roughly the same. So it's going to be something like this. So I wouldn't worry about being involved in this. You'll just lose money trading around large numbers unless you've got a longer term plan. Enphase. So yeah, look, from this, it's possible to have wave 4 low in here, but we're also looking at it as wave A, but we'd need to build another sort of case. So we've been looking at it as an A and a B and a C wave up here, but the relationship between wave A and wave C is not really suitable for this. So it's more likely we've got wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 here, and then building up for 3, 4 and 5 for the 3rd wave, and we're looking for the 4th wave. I could put the wave 4 in here because, like I say, big numbers skew the market, and it hasn't really pulled back to the 38.2%. It could come over here and come back here, or it could just make a top here and go into wave 5 here. So but like I said, I'm trading around this number's not a it's not such a great thing, but but I'm thinking we're going to get this wave this wave 5 up here in it. I don't know. I I think that's the case. But anyway, what we're really looking for is this pullback here that will also stay pretty much around these old lows over here. You know, I mean, normally I'd use group 2 here, but because of the structure, we had the third of the third come through, not a series of 4s and 5s. The 4s and 5s have all been, you know, kept up to the, you know, closer to this number here. So it may not come back that far, but we're looking for that ABC pattern, and we want to go long above that B wave. That will be the trigger if we're going to go long. So it could just continue down, of course, but once we've got that second high in here, then that would be the entry at that point. So anyway, this is going to take a long time to do all of this. So it's, you know, you've got to be an old fart and have a bit of patience for that. So over to Tesla. So what we're looking here, as you know, we've been looking for a bounce off the 200, you know, and we've got that, and everything was going chirpy here. We had our little 5 waves up, and there's probably a case to put the 5th on the top there and all of that sort of thing. But we've in one way or another, we've got our 5 waves up, we've got our correction. Probably didn't pull back to, you know, the 50-60%, but we've got a correction there, and we kind of really don't want this number here. When you're in group 1, you don't want this. It's okay to spike down to what I always call 1.5, the halfway mark, in this case of 15. It's okay to come down, to spike down here, but you don't want this number becoming the retested resistance, because if that becomes the retested resistance, then the market gets pulled down to this number. So out of this 1, 2, and 3, understanding that if the market's traded above the 3 here, and then it comes down and gets locked under this number, with, you know, classic trading levels pattern, the arrival, the reaction, the first low below the level in this case, if that low is taken out by a retest up here and then come down, well, then that's secured that as the resistance, and that means that it's not set in stone, but it's highly likely that it gets pulled down to the closest largest number at this point. So it's good that it didn't do that. It keeps it a bit buoyant to the upside. So we're looking for an A wave and a B wave and a C wave up here. Now, sometimes there's equality between wave A and wave C. Sometimes wave C can be 1.618 longer than wave A, and sometimes it can be, wave C can just be 61.8% of the length of wave A. There's some sort of relationship that in proportions that we need to kind of understand. It does appear that since we spoke yesterday, I think we were counting up here. For this, we're looking for a top here. Probably, you know, a bit of a rough top here, and it would have been a little bit confusing even for me, but once the dust settles, you can kind of see it a little bit. And we could also probably look at this a little bit differently. We could put this as wave 5 over here and wave 4 over here as well. That would be suitable, but we've got that extra high here, but it's okay for a B wave to have a high here. So whichever way you want to do it, it doesn't really matter. We're still left with wave 2 here, so we're looking for this 5 waves up for 1 and 2, and don't really have a good structure here. Actually, it looks like 5 waves here. It looks like 1 and 2 here. It looks like we've got, probably not. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're going to go up further for this. Still could be a B wave. That's a bit of an issue. Yeah, I better just look at that a bit further. So an A wave here, a B wave here, just to make things a bit more, if you're thinking about going long, you'll need to just sort of understand this a little bit, and the B wave over here for that. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for this. So if that's the case, just because you've got to look at if you're going to go long, you've got to try to find the bearish count. So what you need here is a classic trading levels pattern. We've got the arrival and the reaction here. So what you need next is the first high above the level, and then there'll be an ABC little pattern here as well. And then you can go long from this point. So we should be up here somewhere. Like I said before, down here, I don't know if we've got wave 1 or wave 3. So this could be a wave 4 coming up here, or wave 2 up here. I mean, a wave 2 would put it in the right timing with the rest of the markets. That would be handy. But yeah, I just wanted to see what it looks like once it's fully matured. Then I'll be able to figure it out. But yeah, tested support on top of group 1 here of the 30. You know, day traders can go up to 40 at least. If you're lucky, it could take you higher. So Alphabet's another one that was a bit difficult to count this move down through here. But yeah, as the dust sort of settles, we came down here further. It does appear we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then it looks like we've got little 5 waves here. So we're talking about the A wave here yesterday, and then the A, the B, and the C wave here for the B wave. So a little structure down here perhaps, and then another little 5 waves up here for wave C of 2 at that point. So I think that's sort of where we are with this at the moment. I mean, this unfortunately this happened. We were looking for the turn on these, but they just happened so fast, didn't they? I mean, what do you do about that? I'm not a professional news trader. Yeah, I think I'm okay with all of this. But once again, you can easily make mistakes in the count within all of these sorts of things. But we have made a new low, so we've got to give it a wave 1, The only mistake I think I could be making is putting wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here. But it has risen pretty high, but it's sort of okay. Anyway, just keep an eye, we'll just keep an eye on it, and we'll do the best we can. And this is another, Microsoft's got the same situation happening as well. So we've got a nice little 5 waves up here, so we can respect that. It does look a little bit impulsive down here, so I haven't pulled it apart and really checked it though. But I was just thinking an A and a B and a C here, and then up here. So we can look, once we get those 5 waves up here, then we can look for the turn and look for the setup on the short side. It should scoot along quite nicely down here too, by the by, because if that's wave 2 up here, and this is a wave 2, and then what we'll be looking for will also be a wave 2 as well. We'll be looking over here, we'll be looking for a wave 1 and 2 over here. So we'll be in the third of the third of the third, and then we'll also be in another third of a third over here with a green wave 1 and 2 and so on. So we'll look to build in lightly, and then we can just build in more heavily as we go here, and if it goes into our favor at that point, Alrighty, that's Microsoft. I've got to get my little. Oh well, doesn't matter. So Berkshire Hathaway come up and hit the 300 here. So I've had this as wave B to wave C up here. I've got this as wave 1 and an A and a B and a C for wave 2 because it did make a little spike down here. I didn't check on any other platforms to see if that was the case, but yeah, there could be. Yeah, I will check that at some point. But anyway, we're not prepared to go short yet. I mean, I can get wave 1 here and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, little 4th and 5th in there. But we might need to look at this as wave 1 and 2 here as well, which would make this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there could be, I think the normal thing here, what I'll look for basically is to find a top. It can hit the level and never come back. But I'd still want to see a nice 5 waves down for that. But the normal thing is to get another move up here, and then come here, and then find this here, and then and then have this. So what we're looking for here really is anything below 3 waves, because this would be bullish corrective. But anything that breaks that 3 wave structure would tell us that we're bearish at that point, So I think we'll be sort of looking at something like that. And it looks a bit better as 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5 up here anyway. So we'll do something like that. It doesn't stop you from shorting once you get to the top here, those sort of things. But I'm invalidating the next, the next leg down. We need some strong evidence, because we're trading against a trend, so you can't forget these simple things that catch us out. So Square hasn't made another little move up here yet, has it? So that's interesting. I mean, in a nutshell, we can short below here because that would be a total breakdown of that. And of course, you don't have to, you know, do it with a big position. But otherwise, this would be the A, the B, and not even a very good C wave here. It's like a B wave. It's almost like it's down for one here, and A, B, and C here for two not taking the top out and coming down at this point, where it could be coming down as a C wave too, with down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and clip us out and then go back up here. But the timing would be out of it for that, you know. I mean, I've got this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here, but let's just go into 20 ticks and just see what that looks like here for a moment. Well, that's 1 and 2. That's 1, 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit dodgy with the spike in here, but you know, because of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here as the third wave, we can look at this as the fourth wave in here somewhere. I mean, because the spike throws it out, but really it would be sort of 1 and 2 in here, and then 3, 4, 5. So it does make a nice 1 and 2 and 3 here, and then that's definitely in 5 waves, that one, isn't it? And then we've got this and this, this is corrective. That looks like 5 waves as well. So it looks like it does want to come down here a little bit. What's this here? That's a bit messy. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, and then some sort of fourth in here and fifth up here. I don't know how to sort of view all of this here. It's a bit spiky, a bit gnarly. I think we better wait, because if the market comes down to these lows here, if it comes down here, it's going to bounce off this anyway. So we'll check out the bounce. So we won't go short at that point. Not sure what chart we're on. Well, it wasn't daily, was it? Doesn't matter. We'll just move on. Over to the banks. So with the banks here, we've got, well, we're looking at this as the A wave here, then an A and a B, and well, the A wave and A, B, C here. So we're looking for 5 waves up here, and then the move down for wave C at that point. You can see here a little bit, if you look closely here, you can see that well, we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going up for 5. As I mentioned, in cases like Goldman's, I think it is, this wave 3 just doesn't cut it. It's a bit short, so we've got to look at it a little bit differently. But as a template for the banks, as 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then this little move here, if you've got a keen eye, you've got 1 and 2 into here, and then you've got 3 here, and this is wave 4 here, and then we've got wave 5 to go up here. So we've got another push to go to the upside here, I reckon. We're going to go to 10, this is 10,000 ticks, we're going to go to 10 ticks. So we've got 1 and 2 over here, then 3, 4, and then we've been climbing up here for this. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. So we've got the third wave here. So that's why it looks like the fourth. So yeah, we've got a bit of a dilemma here. So I haven't made a new high above here. So I'm just going to take this away for a moment. So yeah, well, that can count as wave 1 up here, but then we've made that, so it would be an A and some pretty dodgy, and here's a B wave here, but we haven't taken out that top there. So we could end up having wave 4 play out here and then wave 5 to this point. It'd be something like that. We could look at this as wave 1 here. That is, we can get 5 waves. Oh, can I get wave 5s out of that? That's 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, fifth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this correction here is, I could go an A and a B and a C to this point, but this looks like it wants to come down further. So I'd have to look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave at that point. So we can't use that. Put that over here. So yeah, there's probably the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave to come down. I can't call it a top because it hasn't taken that out, you know. Oh, really? Yeah, okay. Computer says no. What don't I need? Anyway, let's just finish this one off, and I'll clean up my mess somewhere else a bit later. But I just want to put that B wave in there. So, I mean, on the flip side, if I did look at this as wave 5 over here, like if we took this over here and put wave 5 here, that's possible. And I could count that as 5 waves, but it's rather a big wave 2 if that's the case. You know, if that was wave 1, to count that as a wave 2 is just because this is bigger than this. You know, this is more typical B wave sort of stuff. Because I could count that as 1 here and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, A, B, C for 4. Yes, it's rather high, and then 5 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Have a 5 wave structure as an A wave here, a B wave, and a C wave over here for that. Look, we could have a top in play, but let's, a bit like square really, or block. Let's look at this move down here. If it is 5 waves as a C wave, and then as 5 waves down here, then it will retrace, but it will leave that low exposed, and then we can go short from that point. Like I said, we just have to be extra careful if we're going against the trend, you know. So, it's the same for JP here, a little bit different. I wouldn't worry about this too much. I mean, this wave 3 here is a little bit short, so I've got to kind of look at it a little bit different. But that today's bar looks very like a turning sort of bar, doesn't it? I'll just go in and see what I've done here on the 10 ticks, because it was just a little bit different. Okay, well, we can have a top in here then. So if I've got one, oh no, it's still, let me go get some more data, just double check here. No, well, that's not right. I mean, I feel we're close to a top, you know. I think we talked about this yesterday, I think, or the day before. We were going to short under here. I think we can short under here now, but once it comes down to here, we'll have a bounce. So possible. Let's just have a look at Goldman's here for a moment. I mean, Goldman's you can count up as an A and a B and a C wave here, but as an ABC corrective wave. But I've just brought it in the fold with the other guys as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave. Hasn't made a new low below here. This one counts quite nicely as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the C wave here. Anyway, I won't worry about them today, but we're very close. We're quite close to the tops in the market. That's what I reckon. But I can't prove it. I don't have any sort of evidence. So we need to see. The only solid evidence that I've got is on the SPY here, which would be the same as the SPX on the cash market, as the A, B, and C with the top in place. I mean, that's quite a strong case. I'm not that happy about counting this, whichever way you do it. You know, I mean, it just looks like it's in 3 waves here. You could put this here and do it that way. But the trouble with that is that as an A wave here and a B wave here, it's very difficult to count this as a C wave. So you've got to go into, you know, some WXYs for that sort of stuff. So here, at least, you can look at this as an A and a B and a C wave down here. But there's some trouble with gaps like this. But anyway, it doesn't quite sit right, you know. I mean, I'd be more happy to put this over to here at this point. But the trouble with that is we've got this nice long wave here, which makes up a nice wave 3, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And that makes wave 5 and 1 here have some sort of proportion, basically both smaller than wave 3 here in that case. So anyway, we're in an interesting situation. So let's just see. This looks like it wants to, this is a bit sort of weighty here at the moment. We can count 5 waves here. So we should get another 5 down. So it'll be something like an A and a B and a C wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here. So let's bring, I don't think that spike's there. So just check on your platform to get this here. If that 61.8% becomes the retested resistance, then you know that we're on our way at the moment. It doesn't hurt you to short this at the moment and keep the stop above here. If that low's broken here, like short here and go long, put the stop at that point. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it all at that. Sorry for making such a long video. Cheers.